The opportunity to meet an extraordinary person at the USACC National Convention in Orlando. Her name is Jamila Gilbert. I want to invite you to listen to her keynote at the convention. I'm pretty sure that it will impact you as much as her message impacted me. Enjoy.
He didn't even speak Spanish. He spoke Purépecha, like his mother before him and her mother before her, a language which dates back to pre-Columbian times, before the Spanish language had ever even set foot on fertile, volcanic, indigenous soil. Michoacán, Mexico. And my great-grandfather taught himself to speak Spanish. And then he taught himself to play violin. And then he taught himself to play just about every other language or instrument that he could borrow. He was an autodidact, autodidactica. He did not attend school because schools were closed in rural Mexico during the Mexican Revolution. As a young man, he married, and he and my great-grandmother had 4 children. Seeing the opportunity he had before him as a musician, he founded a band in 1932. And he made this his livelihood. And just a few short years after that, in 1940, his band, La Orquesta Sosa, played for the first time of many times for the President of Mexico, Lázaro Cárdenas. He laid the groundwork for everyone in his family to either play music or teach music, and everyone had a seat at the table. Los tíos, las tías, las primas, los primos, regardless of gender, everyone had that opportunity to take part in that generational opportunity, building generational opportunity. Now, to have the vision that music could help create a livelihood for you and your entire family and create, again, that generational opportunity, that is no small thing. And this was such an example for me growing up, and a clear definition of what it means to be resourceful, enterprising, industrious. The example itself is proof of concept, and how a seed of possibility becomes deeply rooted. Individuals who see a path where there isn't one are by definition visionaries. But even as visionary as my great-grandfather was, I bet he would have never in a million years thought that his bisnieta would lead internal communications for a space travel company. Or that his bisnieta would become a mission specialist on that company's final flight prior to commercial service beginning. Or that his bisnieta would become only the 4th Latina astronaut and among the first 20 Latinx and Hispanic people to fly to space, llevando una herencia mexicana, una herencia purépecha al espacio. And could not have believed that. But again, it's that same seed of possibility, picking up a violin. And I share a bit about where I come from because these are my roots. And they are my roots of self, of identity. And while you and I don't know each other, and our paths may be very, very different, we have so much in common because of our roots. This is the largest gathering of Hispanic-owned business leaders in the United States. That's right. So what does that mean? It means that we're sharing space today with people whose roots are in Mexico, Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Cuba, and many other Latin countries. and who are working hard to foster economic growth and prosperity, but speak with a unified voice. That's so powerful. It means that we share language, a love for travel, for music, for rhythm. I tell my husband that all the time. We have a shared affinity for flavor and spice. We share a vision. So whether it's starting a band to provide every member of your family opportunity, true opportunity, or becoming an entrepreneur, you are here because you have believed in yourself. And it's tied to our overarching culture, and it's embedded in our shared language. What do I mean by that? By a show of hands. Who here says or often hears, échale ganas? Okay, todos? What about sigue adelante? De que se puede, se puede. And these are such true foundational words to us. And they're rooted in our communities, and they always have been. And it's in this forward-facing, siempre adelante mentality that is in our spirit, that is carried in our language, in our roots, and in our hometowns, the places in which we're raised. I was raised in Las Cruces, New Mexico, which is about, and that's about 45 minutes from El Paso, Texas. And for those of you who are counting, about 46 minutes to Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua. And our entire area is a vibrant community, and some of you are clearly familiar with it. And we all know it as the Borderplex region. And there's this saying that people use to describe it. 3 cities, 2 countries, 1 region. And I love the unity of that. Our area is nourished by the Rio Grande River. It's home to the Hatch Valley, where the world's best green chili grows. Everyone clapped for that. I was like, yes, bring on the chili. And we're surrounded by these breathtaking landscapes, these mountainscapes, enormous. And it's also in the high desert, which is one of the many factors that makes the location perfect for spaceflight. Which brings me to space. On May 25th of this year, I woke up in Las Cruces hours before the sun had rose. My husband and I were driven out to Spaceport America, where, following 3 days of training, I had to climb aboard a spaceship. Virgin Galactic's spaceship VSS Unity. After taking off from the runway, our pilots flew our mothership and the spaceship up to release altitude, about 50,000 feet. Our spaceship was released from the mothership, and the rocket motor ignited, and we went supersonic. And to say that that was thrilling hardly begins to describe it. We flew Mach 2.94. That's about 2,255 miles per hour. And while that is very quick, the onset of G-forces were smooth and comfortable, the acceleration was incredible, and the feeling was every bit as amazing as I thought it would be. And after climbing through the atmosphere at what was an incredible speed, we pressed firmly against our seats. We were met by what can only be described as the opposite of that. Our limbs began to feel lighter. We are cleared to unstrap from our seats and move freely about the cabin in microgravity, weightlessness. And at that moment, I looked out my left window and I saw how small the planet was. My first thought was, oh, we went too high. I hadn't anticipated how much of the planet I was going to be able to see. But it was luckily a fleeting thought, because what I did next was look out the window, and I was just so taken by this thin, glowing atmosphere around the Earth. And it seemed to just resonate with life. And it's that thin atmosphere that's the only thing that protects us from from this vast, hostile depth that we comprehend as space. But I didn't peer into that darkness thinking about how endless space was. What I couldn't pull my eyes away from was the planet itself. This perfect, crystalline, hyper-real entity, undoubtedly alive. And what a thing it is to travel to space, go all that way, and want nothing more than to look back at your home planet. To see the Earth through this new lens, this place, home to every person that I've ever known and loved, it was incredible. When I traveled to space, I also traveled in time. The Earth I saw that day was still and suspended, how it looked 100 million years ago, and how it's gonna look 100 million years from now. And it felt like this past and present and future all in one. I saw the planet as it is, in its rightful place in the universe, infinitely larger than me, and so unbelievably unbothered by being seen or not being seen, dependent on nothing but the sun. I saw the planet with my own two eyes in a completely different way against the immensity of space and time, and the visual clarity was unbelievable. I saw the ancient topography of my home state of New Mexico, rasgos de montaña y recuerdos de ríos. I glanced down to behold our national park, White Sands, un mar de arena, brillante y espléndido. I saw a crescent moonrise before it was visible from home. Una canica pálida contra una azul inmensidad. And I saw my crewmates experiencing this childlike wonder around me, flotando entre el sol y la luna, probando la niñez una vez más. But you know what I didn't see? I didn't see borders or barriers or boxes that people put themselves in. From this new, right? From this new vantage point, one that fewer than 700 people have ever experienced, I felt an emanating elation and hope and a sense of timelessness and continuity. Because if humans can do that, if we can find ways to connect people to the unity and the togetherness of it all, despite anything, we can overcome any difficulties and we can do it together. So, if people who look like me and sound like me believe that they too have a place in space, we will make it happen. It's the power of belief and it's the power of representation. When I traveled to space, I unrooted myself from my home to get a better, deeper look at my home. Your home, our home. And I now know that I'm neither from Las Cruces, nor New Mexico, nor the United States. I'm not from my family's state of Michoacan, nor am I from Mexico. I am from the same place we're all from. I am from your hometown, and you are from mine. Mi casa es su casa. Gracias.